Bionicle, Mask of Light. When I was a kid all the way up to the end of my teen years, I used to be a huge Bionicle collector. From every single one in the cans to the large one in boxes, I loved building every single one and putting them on display like a trophy. If I had to pick a favorite one, like the crown jewel of my collection, it would probably be this guy right here.
Don't ask me about their names or anything like that. I don't know what the fridge Lego was thinking, but they're called stuff that is pretty much foreign to everyone.
But when they turned the world of Mata Nui into a movie, did it end up being something as grand as the Toas themselves? Or is it as useless as the extra Lego pieces after finishing a set? Let's find out. The story. It's obvious from the get-go that writing a story is not their strongest asset. The plot of the movie is just terribly told about finding the 7th Toa with the Mask of Light. Not only do they make it predictable on what will happen and who could that 7th Toa be, but also the movie often forgets to explain some things. It's not really to the point where there are some plot holes, but more that stuff happens and some characters do things because. But I do have a feeling that even the writers know that they're not good at their craft. What they do to make up for it is that the plot itself isn't what's important, but more the island of Mata Nui and the Bionicle lore. That's where the movie's central core is, it's where its creativity shines, and what makes the film interesting to watch. If there's one thing that feels mixed though, it's the tone of the movie. Most of the time, it would take itself seriously, which is good for something like this, but then they would try to add in some comical moments and it would feel just out of place every time they do it. They may not have any clue to write a story for a movie, but they sure can write a story for a legend. The animation. Since this is a direct-to-DVD movie, the animation here is pretty subpar. It's like the animators are learning how to use their software as they're making this. One of the reasons that prove it is the textures. It looks like they put an image of the texture over something rather than making the texture itself, like the rocks don't really feel like they're rocks, or the ice doesn't feel that cold. What's worse is that a lot of the characters don't even have textures on them, making them look too simple and the lighting on them feels awkward. Another thing that looks awful is the character animation. It's that kind where their movements feel more simple and stiff, and they didn't care to put more time to define and smoothen their animation. Even during the fighting scenes, it would have looked great if they haven't taken the lazy route. That, and for some reason, there would be at times when they would either speed up or slow down the animation, and it feels like it came out of nowhere. These two flaws basically make this movie look like one of those first video games for the GameCube or PlayStation 2, where they just got out of those polygon graphics and started doing shapes that are more round. If there is one good thing I could say about the animation, is the designs. I like how they turned the classic toys into these androids that still have a bit of that Lego feeling to them. Also, I love how they separated the island of Mata Nui to their environmental element and build a village around it like water, lava, mining, a forest, and more. They have the right ideas to do this, but it's the execution of the animation is what cost them. The characters. When you put the characters in groups, there's a very small list, so this shouldn't be too long. First, there's the main characters, Takua and Jaller, where one of them was assigned to bring the mask to the legendary 7th Toa, and the other is, just there to aid him on his quest. Seriously though, throughout the movie, other than holding the mask, they've barely done anything, and they act more like comedy reliefs more than the protagonist. But then there are the 6 Toas, the guardians of the island of Mata Nui. Not only do they feel more like the stars of the movie since they are the ones who do the action, but they are very well developed as well. each one of them with their own distinct personality, and we see them go through many different emotions. My personal favorite would have to be Toa Tahu, a tough guardian who cares about the people he's saving and his fellow brothers and sisters, even if he doesn't show it. Then there are the Turagas, who are the old wise ones of the island. When thinking about it, their job is just to explain exposition. They would even go as far as clarifying some of the names for no reason.
Their recent victories are a blessing, but they've forgotten how they need each other.
Indeed, Nokama.
Thanks, dude. Now I'll finally sleep wiser knowing that name. Then there's Makuta, the villain of the movie, who actually succeeds at being very threatening by always lurking in the shadows with a dark, deep voice. It also helps that his minions, the Rakshi, are pretty creepy and they seem to pose as an actual threat to the Toas. There are some characters that are weak, but the more memorable Bionicles are thankfully solid. Bionicle Mask of Light is not really a good movie itself, but more as a tool to understand the myths and legends about the Bionicles during the Mata Nui Age. It shows that they can't write or animate a movie for their lives, but they can easily adapt what LEGO has already done for them pretty well. I probably recommend this only to those who enjoy films that revolve around a mystical land like The Lord of the Rings or The Neverending Story to watch it at least once. This movie isn't really a vital piece of my collection, but it's nice to know what the fridge was I even collecting in the first place.
Hey guys, this is AniMat. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting much from this film. I mean, this is a direct-to-DVD animated feature where they made it more to promote the Bionicle toys more than it is to, actually make an animated film. But, even though now we're done with that, let's move on to the next movie, In the Animation Hat. Oh, and by the way, if you have any suggestions for an animated film you would like me to review and put on the hat, then send me an email at animatsreviews@gmail.com and I will write it down immediately and I'll put it immediately in the hat. That's a lot of immediatelys, but anyways, let's get to it. Before you go and do your email, let's see the next feature. Oh, and by the way, I promise I'll give a proper hint next time than, just leaving you guessing out of nothing. Come on. Hey, come on. Oh, we got one! We got one! Alright. So, the next animated feature will be... it's done like this. Okay, we got it. Oh my god, are you serious? Ooh. Oof. Let's just say that this film... There's actually one thing that this film is actually known for. It actually beat a Disney animated feature at the box office. But let's be honest, that's not really saying much because the only thing that it beat was The Black Cauldron.